The Detroit Lions were a half hour away from their first Super Bowl appearance after leading by 17 going into the half. Pretty dominant first half. And instead of talking about the Super Bowl, our first Super Bowl appearance ever, we're heading to the offseason, and we got offseason videos to come. This video here, man, I'm going to tell you now that this is a trigger warning for everybody, all the happy slappies. I'm going to call you happy slappies. I'm going to call you that today. And I'm not trying to be offensive, but this is just the mood that I'm in. I've always been like this, so this might be a video you want to turn away from. The Detroit Lions, this was a disaster. This was a disaster. You cannot lead 14 points in an NFC title game and blow it. You just can't. Am I wanting for somebody to be fired? No. Do I have to move past this? Of course I do. We all do. But there's no excuse. I don't care what you want. You can try to dig into your bag of tricks and find an excuse. There is not one. And a lot of people are talking about the Detroit Lions will be back. I think that's being facetious as well. There's no telling if you're going to get back to where you were. Dan Campbell has said it's going to be twice as hard. Jared Goff has said it's going to be twice as hard. And it's going to be twice as hard. That means that the Detroit Lions need to be twice as good in order to make this run. Now, that's the purpose of this video. Dan Campbell in his end-of-season presser, we're still waiting on Brad Holmes. It usually happens Tuesday. It might happen Wednesday or Thursday this week. In his end-of-season presser, he talked about the biggest factor that you have to be on this team, and it is grit. It is the ability. You have to be the right fit for this team. Dan Campbell, he gave us a nugget. Now, how the Lions act and who fits into that mode is going to be up for debate. We're going to see how that turns out. But everyone on this team has been strategically picked, handpicked to be on this team. Dan Campbell said, it doesn't matter how talented you are. If you don't fit, if you don't have the characteristics to play on this team, you won't be here. So that leads you to this question. Is grit going to be enough for the Detroit Lions? Now, the Detroit Lions have increasingly got better using the same model. Here you have 2021, you got 3-12-1. 2022 is 9-8. 2023, 12-5, NFC title game. So part of you would say yes, that they've been using the same method and they got to where they were. But then you have being up by 17 points, right? And blowing it at halftime. Something has got to give. Now, can Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes get talent and grit? I believe it is. Will it be somebody I want? I don't know. You got all the big dogs out there like Josh Allen, Danielle Hunter, Brian Burns, who all can be franchise tags, so they might be out the question. Now we pick 29th in the draft. 29th. There's no pass rusher I really know that's sitting back there at 29th. The Detroit Lions need, you saw it. You've seen it all year. Now, I just got to say, we were both right. You said that we weren't going to make the Super Bowl. We weren't going to win the Super Bowl. You were right. I said that our pass rush was going to be why we lost games. I was right as well. You can't get to Brock Purdy twice in the fourth quarter. You can't let him run and escape the dude is bottled up and he's escaped, right? Alex Anzalone was still the leading tackler on our team. So there's obvious that we have glaring holes on this team. Just like it was last year, the secondary was a problem. The secondary is still a problem. It is still a problem. And unfortunately, Emmanuel Mosley created more of a bigger problem because now we need a number one corner. Cam Sutton was supposed to be 1, Emmanuel 2. Turns out Cam was more of a 2. Now we need a 1. We still need a pass rush, right? So Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell will be working with more money, but less draft capital. We don't pick until 29th. We'll see what Brad and Dan have in store. But the question is, if Dan Campbell, if you look at what's been happening, you would say, yes, Dan Campbell has shown that the grit is all we need. You need more grit than you need talent. But I don't know. I mean, he's the coach. I'm just a dude sitting in my basement, right? But these players have to have some level of talent. They do, man. We just have to have, because our defensive, there's no reason at all that we should be talking about the offseason. This is something that I tell you, I will never, ever get past until we win the Super Bowl. So that leads me to this. next year we're going into, because for me, let me tell you where I am, and then I'll put the question back on you. I'm ready for a dynasty. The Kansas City Chiefs have been into 5 of the last 5 AFC title games. 5 of them. They have advanced to now their 4th Super Bowl. They are 2-1 in those Super Bowls. They only lost to Tom Brady. Patrick Mahomes, in his 6-year career, 6 or 7 years, whatever it's been now, has been to 4 Super Bowls. Now flip it to the NFC. The 49ers, if I'm not mistaken, have been to 4 of the last 5 NFC title games. I'm not sure if that includes this one or not. All right. They have advanced to only 1 Super Bowl. But you're talking about teams that get back, that keep going back. The San Francisco 49ers are one of those teams. That's where I want to be. Next year, there is no regression. There's nothing less than a Super Bowl appearance at all. That's where I'm at. So I don't care what Dan and Brad have to do. I believe in them. I am trusting in the process. I don't care what they have to do. We need to advance to a Super Bowl. Period. We cannot be like the Philadelphia Eagles. We cannot be like the Dallas Cowboys. This fan base has been tortured enough, and the torture continues, man. I was on the plane, and all day long, I was thinking of, I cannot believe I'm going back home and the Lions aren't going to their first Super Bowl. It's not like we got there and got blasted. I can't believe that I'm even here. So anyway, I'm proud of this team. I am, man. I feel for the players. I feel for Josh Reynolds. I feel for Jared Goff. I feel for Jahmyr Gibbs. I feel for those guys. And I think that it will make them better as players, and whoever remains on this team, I think it will make them better for it. That pain is something you don't want to experience again. You don't. Like I said, it's not like we got blasted and blew back. We were 7-point underdogs, and we were up 17. We dominated the first half. There's no excuse. There's no reason we should be having this conversation right now. There's no reason we should be talking about the offseason. There's none. 0, period. This is going to take a while to process and get over. And for me, I'm not going to be able to do it. I can tell you that right now. So anyway, we're here. We're in the offseason. And I got to thank my wife for allowing me to go on this journey from Kansas City to the game a couple days ago. Thank you. Thank you to my son, who has done it as well. And thank you to all of you who, without the trip, without the finances, I couldn't have been there, right? Thank you so much. With that being said, I want to, if you haven't seen my community posts, wasn't feeling good before I left. And yeah, here's why. See if you can see this. That, ladies and gentlemen, is a COVID-19 test that I tested positive for last night. Something told me just to check it or to test it, and I got it. So I'm not feeling well. There's not too much I can do, but I can definitely get in front of the mic for a few minutes at a time. So on to the offseason we go. This is only going to disappear when we win the Super Bowl. Not make the Super Bowl, win the Super. Like, this is not going to disappear. For me anyway, it's going to sit. We had a chance and we blew it. Getting there would have been enough for me. It really would have, because then you would have got rid of the Lions have never been to a Super Bowl. I mean, history was made this year, and none of that has been forgotten. I'm not sad about any of that, but you can't. It's not like we were down 17 and we lost by 3, making a comeback. We were up and dominating. You cannot. There's no excuse for that. And also, we have to be the team that can overcome that type of odds. I want to be the next Kansas City Chiefs. I don't want to be the 49ers. The 49ers can get there but can't finish. So anyway, you guys are awesome. Take care of yourself and each other. And as always, go Lions.